head is, how do you perceive things that happen in your life? What I mean by that is, how much responsibility do you take for what happens in your life and the chain reaction that goes from there. The reason why I ask is because I highly, highly, highly believe that how you handle life in general, meaning anything that happens to you, anything that happens around you, how you handle life and how you perceive that greatly affects how you succeed. Not just with your weight loss or healthy living goals, but really with any goal. When something happens, you know, do you say, well, I wasn't able to do this because that happened? You know, or do you say, well, I chose not to do that because this happened? So I guess a perfect example of that would be, you know, I can't lose weight because my husband loves Twinkies and sweets and he keeps all that stuff in the house, and there's nothing I can do about it. So how do you lose weight with all that stuff in the house? You know, or Chalene Johnson, who's the creator of Turbo Kick. I don't teach it, but I do appreciate her motivational speaking. And she used a really good example, and that was, you know, I hate this cramped house. We're so cramped in it, and we can't move. We can't afford to move until my husband gets a better job. Well, yeah, you can get a job, you know, help, do something. And this was her speaking, do something to contribute to that goal, you know, and well, you know, I've got the kids and he's working and I'm raising the kids. Well, and again, as Chalene had said, well, I raised my kids, and while I was at home, they weren't in daycare. You know, I made my business, I made it a success. I always worked towards something. So how you look at the world and what goes on around you is going to greatly affect A, your happiness, and B, how well you succeed in the things that you want in life. You know, so I'm posing the question to maybe get that thought process going of how you perceive things, and can you change your perception? Can you change your perception from saying, I can't lose weight because my family insists upon having the junk food in the house, to let's not even worry about changing it yet. But can you change your perception, just your perception, not the habit, not the food, none of that, just your perception. I'm not losing weight because there's food in my house and I'm choosing to eat it. I'm not losing weight because I'm allowing this type of food in my house, knowing that maybe I'm addicted to this kind of food and it makes it almost impossible to stay away from, or what have you. To give you a really good example, short story, because I have to leave in about 4 minutes. It was during the holidays. I had already, you know, packed on the good old holiday weight, again, because, you know, that's what I chose to do. It wasn't because people provided all those yummy baked goods. It's because I chose to eat the baked goods. Well, I had made a decision after Christmas to clean out the cupboards, clean out everything, and just start new. We were going to have, you know, a nice, clean eating kitchen again, functional. And so I had done that, and we had a post-holiday dinner party with some friends at our house, and I was really proud of myself. I made all clean foods, you know, all from Clean Eating magazines and all the holiday goods, but they were all clean and healthy and nothing that you would feel guilty about eating. And our friends brought over half of a bakery. I kid you not, half of a bakery. Their son worked for a bakery, and they had a bunch of stuff. My husband's a New Year baby, so we were kind of celebrating. It was a post-holiday / my husband's birthday dinner party celebration. And I was mortified. If you know anything about me, and if you don't know this about me, I'm sure I'll talk about it a lot, but I have a huge, I won't even say a weakness, I have a huge sugar addiction. We are talking like an alcoholic or a drug addict, you know, I mean, I don't keep it in the house for a reason. You know, I really have to be careful with what I do and how I do it. And so anyway, they brought over bags of pastries and decadents and donuts, and a huge, gosh, it was either a full sheet or a half sheet cake. I'm not a big cake person when it comes to baking, but I mean, it was huge, and there's just two of us. For the dinner party, there was like, I think 6 or 7 of us, but you know, after that we were left with all of it. So after they had left, I was furious. I was furious because I had just cleaned everything out, and now, you know, my kitchen was full of all this food that I have a hard time, really hard time, not eating if it's around. Especially after, you know, and those of you who have had sugar addictions, you know that once you've eaten all that sugar and your body is used to consuming sugar almost daily like that, there's like a detox process that happens, much like if you're an addict, where you kind of go through withdrawals of major cravings for weeks after you've stopped eating it, until your body gets used to not having it anymore. And so I'm faced with this big cake, and how am I going to survive the next few weeks? Well, not even the next few weeks, because it won't stay good that long, but at least the next week or two with all this crap in my house. It's my husband's birthday. You know, it's his birthday cake. What do you do? So I told my husband, take it to work. Take it to work, share it with your buddies. You know, whatever you don't take to work, I'm going to dump. Seriously, I knew myself, and a lot of you might not have this issue with sugar and whatnot, but under this circumstance, I knew myself well enough to know that I would be the victim of myself here if I did not get it out of the house. And my husband and I actually even argued about this, and I'm like, look, I know it's your birthday cake, but it's this large sheet. We can't possibly, nor should we even try to consume the entire thing. If you want it around, take it to work. Please don't keep it here. I can't do it. I made that decision to step up and ask my husband for help and tell him and so what we ended up doing was cutting off a few slices for my husband that he was happy with, although I have to say he was still frustrated with me. But you know, we came to this agreement, and we dumped everything else into the trash that they had brought. Now, I could have very easily felt bad and said, oh, it's your birthday, we'll just keep it here and I'll do my best. But I know myself, and I knew I had to step up to the plate. That was where I was either going to take action or fall victim of myself. Nobody else. It's not my friend's fault that they brought it. They don't know what's going on in my personal life when it comes to that, or what's in my head, or but my perception was, I need to take the bull by the horns and do this, because nobody's going to do it for me, and if I leave it in the house, I am going to eat it. And there's another route I could have taken. I could have chosen not to eat it. I knew that that would be the harder route, and I knew that I probably wasn't ready for that at the time. So the point of the story is, I could have kept it in the house, and I could have put on a bunch more weight, eating it happily, enjoying, another week of being on a sugar binge. And then after the weight was gained and I could no longer fit into my clothes, and I was feeling pretty cruddy, I could have said, yeah, I would have been fine if they wouldn't have brought that food, if that wasn't around for me to eat, So no matter what happens in my life, and I don't know honestly if this is nature versus nurture, if some of us have a personality type that is clear cut like this and some of us don't, or if this is just how we've trained ourselves over the years. But I'm very much a realist, and so anything that happens in my life, if I put on weight, I am 100% accountable. If I had a stressful time like I did this past school year and I put on some weight, I might say, I had a stressful period and I put on some weight, but it wasn't because I had a stressful time. It was because I chose to put my energy and focus it on where I felt it needed to be prioritized at the time. It wasn't because of a job change or the stress that was in the building or any of that. It was because of where I chose to place my priorities and place my attention. And I chose to put my fitness and clean eating on the back burner to get through this time. So what I'm asking you today is to really look at your perception of things, because you're the only person, and as I am the only person who is driving my bus. I'm the only one that is with myself 24/7, all the time, and I'm the only one responsible for making these decisions for myself. Nobody else can do any of this for me. I have to, and there's always going to be hurdles. There's all daily. Every day you are going to be faced with challenges. I'm going to be faced with challenges. And so we have to decide, although we might not always be able to control what happens or how it happens, we do always have 100% control over what we do with it. If there's a stressful time, are you going to allow that stressful time to take front seat and put your health on the back burner? And if you do, afterwards, when you see the consequences of that, will you fall victim to being within a stressful time, or will you fully take responsibility for, it was in a stressful time and these are the choices I made? And that's the huge difference between will I succeed in my goals and will I not? It's really actually the first step, even before you make any changes in your health, your diet, your exercise, it's just first seeing the world with a perception of ownership and responsibility, and having the knowledge of I'm not a victim of I don't know how to do this, or I want to lose weight, or I want to get healthy, or I want that new job, or I want this car, or I want a bigger house, but I can't because this, that, and the other. Once you come to the conclusion of, because I'm making the choice not to do that for whatever reason, there's maybe there's some payoff that's greater for me right now than to make that choice to meet that goal or to have what I want. Once you come to that conclusion, that's when you stop lying to yourself. That's when I stopped lying to myself. That's when you can really completely 100% own everything that happens in your life as yours, your responsibility. So today I just want you to think about how you perceive the world, how you perceive things around you, and where do you look to when you want to place blame on something? This didn't work because of, what do you usually fill that in with? Does that problem typically belong to another person, another situation, a hurdle, or does it belong to the choices you made? Once you can own that as the choices you made, then it becomes something that you can change. You can't change it if it's somebody else's, because you can't change anything about anybody else, right? You can't step into somebody else's life and make them do something that's going to allow you to reach your goals. You can't, any more than they can make you do something. So once you have full ownership, that's when you can really start to create change, and own that as well. Anyway, peace. I'll see you when I see you, and have a great day.